It's time to do some crime fighting. Time for Calhoun County's Most Wanted. I'm Chris Wright, your host, along with Calhoun County Sheriff Larry Amerson, or I should say the well-tanned Calhoun County Sheriff Larry Amerson.
That's right. Been down to South Alabama to the Gulf Coast where other sheriffs were there. About 50 of Alabama sheriffs. We were there for the meeting together. Learned a lot. Heard from other elected leadership across our state. Interesting thing, but you've been busy while we've been gone with 6 arrests. Thank you for all your hard work as always. Look at that total, 3,146 people arrested thanks to your help, and you see the last 6 we got.
Joking about getting that tan, but I actually know from experience that you spend most of the time at those conferences sitting in the conference building and talking about different ways that you can do the job better, and I know that you had a chance to learn some things from the governor of the state as well.
Well, we had the governor, of course, come in and speak to us about current events and what his aspect of law enforcement. The state law enforcement is going through a big revision or reorganization where they're changing a lot of things which will have an effect on our operations. And we also heard from the Secretary of Homeland Security and what they're doing in that part of the world. So hearing it face to face, being able to have conversation, engage them in discussion is all good for us.
Did we hear anything from Homeland Security that would affect operations here in Calhoun County?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out, and some of their answers is we don't know yet. We're wanting to make it better. We want to have your feedback, so at least they're asking our opinion.
All right, so what else did we discover at the conference this year?
Well, we had, there's lots of issues about law enforcement with jails and what the FCC is doing on the national level. What happens in Washington affects us all every day, and that's an important aspect of our job. And what happens in Montgomery with new legislation that's been passed or proposed. We learned a lot of information on things that we have to tweak.
Just like any other job, you can't just go in and do it every day and keep going into the office doing that job every day and still do it effectively. Even if you do it the same way you did it 20 years ago and it worked 20 years ago, you've got to keep educating yourself and moving forward, and that's what these conferences are all about.
Sure, we had a lot of information on sex offenders and the ways we deal with those folks and the registration and the gathering of information. We had issues to deal with on our firearms laws and how those laws have been changed and how that affects us on day-to-day operations, because training is important. We had a 1-day, 8-hour training on how to respond to an active shooter. And for the sheriff's perspective, how to organize the response, how to get the resources to the deputies who are dealing with an emergency, how to work with other agencies, many things that we have to look at and be prepared for.
All right, well, I'm glad you picked up all that information. We're going to try to pick up some information from the viewers here in just a few minutes. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Congratulations, Sheriff Amerson, John Garlick, and Matthew Wade, my friends, for 10 years of Calhoun County's Most Wanted and over 3,000 arrests. Way to go, guys.
Congratulations, Calhoun County's Most Wanted and Crime Stoppers, for 10 great years. And thank you to the citizens of Calhoun County for putting 3,000 people behind the bars. Yay!
Big news for homebuyers searching through all those complicated mortgage options. AOD Federal Credit Union is now offering new, out-of-the-box mortgage solutions. Mortgage loan manager Jamie Bailey will help find the best rates and quickest approval for you. Conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, Jumbo, HARP, and more. Call Jamie Bailey at 256-241-8218. Out-of-the-box mortgage services. Reason number 4 that you belong with AOD Federal Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA. All loans subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions apply. Equal housing lender.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
a crackhead, drug addict, alcoholic, meth freak, a wretch like me.
I once was
homeless,
broken, sad,
just lost. But now I am
sober, happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
I'm Calhoun County Sheriff Larry Amerson. Don't risk your life and the lives of others by texting while driving. Put the phone down or safely pull over. Looking down for 1 second is all it really takes. Is it really worth it?
Hi, I'm Katina Houston with Family Links, and this is the Parenting Tip of the Week. Throughout their teenage years, your child will be confronted with many difficult situations where choosing to make a safe and healthy decision may not be the easiest or most obvious thing to do. Peer pressure may factor heavily into the decision-making process regarding serious issues such as drinking alcohol at parties, trying drugs, having sexual relationships, joining gangs, and participating in silly pranks. As a parent, being present to protect your teen from situations that could potentially hurt him or her will always be an intense urge that often cannot be realistically fulfilled. As your child grows older, parenting becomes less about control and more about offering guidance. You can help support your teen in making responsible decisions by providing a solid foundation built upon sharing your time, experience, values, trust, and love. Some tips for parents. First, whenever your teen comes to talk to you regarding a decision he or she is currently facing, make the most of the opportunity. Your approach or reaction to any discussion has a real impact on whether or not your teen feels comfortable coming to talk to you in the future. Basically, don't freak out. Second, allow your teen to describe the problem or situation in their own words. Third, talk with your teen about the choices. Fourth, help your teen to identify and compare the possible consequences of all of the available choices. And last, later ask your teen how things worked out. Remember, talk with your teen about ways to handle risky situations to prepare him or her to make safer choices. To feel comfortable talking openly with you, your teen needs to know that you will not punish him or her for being honest. For more parenting tips, please contact Family Links at 256-820-5911.
And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up this week, Cedric Young. Mr. Young, last known to be living in Anniston, wanted for bond revocation on robbery first. And here's Henry Warren. Mr. Warren, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for probation violation on obstruction of justice by using a false ID. And meet Danny Woods. Mr. Woods, last known to be living in East Teboga, he's wanted for probation violation on an attempted controlled substance crime, possession and receipt of a controlled substance, and failure to appear on distribution of a controlled substance ×2. And meet Kathy Chandler. Miss Chandler, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for failure to appear on possession and receipt of a controlled substance and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And this is Casey Gunter. Miss Gunter, last known to be living in Jacksonville. She's wanted for probation revocation on attempted identity theft. And meet Jean Smith. Miss Smith from Loxley, Alabama. Wanted for probation revocation on receiving stolen property third. And last up for our first half, Gary Lynch. Mr. Lynch, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on theft of property first. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show.
More bad guys in just a few minutes, but right now we want to talk about somebody who has done a lot of work to help protect the rest of us in a different way from the sheriff and his deputies. Trace Fleming-Smith is joining us from Second Chance.
Hi.
Good to see you, Trace.
Thanks so much for having me back. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you lowering yourself to our standards.
Oh,
a recent guest on National Public Radio, the morning edition, and now back here.
It was a huge honor. I'm still kind of reeling from that. So it was absolutely a great opportunity, and I'm so grateful that they were willing to let me come and speak for them for a little bit.
And Sheriff, we're obviously very well familiar with the work that Second Chance and Trace are doing. We're finding out that more and more people around the country are aware of what they're doing as well. You were just talking off the air about this certain event or group that you're included in, that Anniston, Second Chance is included in, that only, 9 cities around the country?
It's so exciting. We were one of 9 agencies across the entire country who received the Department of Justice's Abuse in Later Life grant. So this is going to be a wonderful opportunity for us to bring training into our area, and also, though, to do some community needs assessments to find out more about elder abuse and what our community truly needs all of us to be looking at and investigating and doing together. So it's a remarkable opportunity to be a part of that group where there are people from Los Angeles and Atlanta and New York and just a variety of different, these just incredible other advocates, and to see us there was just also an honor.
It's interesting, Sheriff, when you get into the big cities, because I know you've seen this as president of the National Sheriff's Association, when you get the big cities, the big organizations together with the smaller local Calhoun County type organizations.
Yes.
You both learn a lot from each other, don't you?
We do, and you also find many similarities. Even though their scale is much larger, they share the same issues. And we all know, again, elder abuse is so timely because the baby boom is there, and there's many, many more senior adults, and many of them are on their own. Many of them are vulnerable for various risks, and we see that daily in our job. So having better resources is amazing.
So what does this grant mean to the people of Calhoun County?
Well, it's going to give us an opportunity to, again, to explore more about elder abuse in our area, but then it's also going to give us a chance to do some really in-depth training for not just law enforcement, but also social service professionals too, all about identifying elder abuse, and then also making sure that we're reaching out to the survivors of these crimes, because it's just so vastly underreported. That, to me, I've done anti-violence work for a very long time, and I was shocked to know even just how limited our knowledge is of our survivors. We know that in Calhoun County, on average, we see about 30 new reports of elder abuse to the Adult Protective Services at Calhoun County DHR each month. But we also know from some of the statistics that I was looking at that for every reported elder abuse case we have, there's actually, I believe, 27 that go unreported.
27?
That's, I believe, the number that I was looking at. So it's just really surprising to see that and to know that there's just limited information, because there seems to be a lot of silence around this crime. Because there's, our elders have a lot of embarrassment about it. At least that's what the information that we're getting back seems to say.
And so part of what you're doing with this grant is you're trying to gather some more information so that you, a second chance, and the people who are trying to help will know more. So people that are watching the show may have already received a survey, is that right?
Exactly. We've started putting out 2 separate surveys into the community. So the first one is for professionals doing any kind of social service work or any kind of work where they may be attached to someone who may be a survivor of elder abuse. And then the second survey that's also gone out, and it will be seen at so far at a lot of our Calhoun County senior centers, and different agencies also have it. I know that you guys put it out, so I really appreciate that. Yeah, it was just great, and it's for anyone who's 50 and above. The federal definition of elder is 50, and I know that there's some issue with that.
Close to that.
I know there's some issue. I know that everyone hears that and kind of goes, ooh.
You don't go to the buffet at 4:30 in the afternoon, do you, Sheriff?
But I get carded at some restaurants now, so I can get a free coffee or whatever.
And people really seem to be very uncomfortable with the 50 number, but the way I kind of hope that people will understand is that just means that you are a lot smarter than the rest of us because you've made it that long. So we're thankful for that. But the 50 and above, they may receive that survey, and they don't have to take it only if they're a survivor of elder abuse. It's for anyone who's 50 and above to give us feedback about our community. And really, there's a part on it that actually asks for their suggestions on how we can help those who may be affected by these crimes. Because it's not just the Second Chance show. This is a community-wide situation that we're trying to tackle. So we really need all the input we can get.
All right. Well, we need to take a break, but we've got more to talk about, including some ways that the viewers can get involved in the mission that you're doing when we come back on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Congratulations on Calhoun County Most Wanted and Crime Stoppers for 10 years on the air and 3,000 arrests.
Congratulations to Calhoun County's Most Wanted, 10 years on the air, and the Crime Stoppers for their 3,000 arrests. Great job, guys. Keep up the good work.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
A crackhead, drug addict, alcoholic, meth freak, a wretch like me.
I once was
homeless,
broken, sad,
just lost. but now I am
Sober.
Happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
Big news for homebuyers searching through all those complicated mortgage options. AOD Federal Credit Union is now offering new, out-of-the-box mortgage solutions. Mortgage loan manager Jamie Bailey will help find the best rates and quickest approval for you. Conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, HARP, and more. Call Jamie Bailey at 256-241-8218. Out-of-the-box mortgage services. Reason number 4 that you belong with AOD Federal Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA. All loans subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions apply. Equal housing lender.
For emergency and non-emergency medical transportation, you can count on Anniston EMS.
Hello, I'm Johnny Warren with Anniston EMS, and we appreciate the opportunity to provide support for the Calhoun County's Most Wanted program. And I would like to remind everyone out there that if they need any medical transportation needs, please don't hesitate to call us.
Call Anniston EMS at 256-237-8572.
A lifetime of savings can disappear overnight. Millions of dollars are stolen every day from unsuspecting older adults by family members, caregivers, and trusted professionals. If you suspect financial exploitation, call the Elder Care Locator at 1-800-677-1116 or go online to the National Adult Protective Services Association to be connected with help in your area.
And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Randy Holland. Miss Holland, last known to be living in Oxford. She's wanted for writing bad checks. And this is Matthew Burnett. Mr. Burnett, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to pay child support, the face of a deadbeat dad. And meet Alan Robinson. Mr. Robinson, last known to be living in Weaver. He's wanted for probation revocation on domestic violence assault. This is Robert Wellington. Mr. Wellington, last known to be living in Ohatchee. He's wanted for failure to appear on domestic violence, third, harassment. And meet Caesar Austin. Mr. Austin, last known to be living in Jacksonville. He's wanted for possession of marijuana, second, and failure to pay for that. And here is Kendrick Ingram. Mr. Ingram, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to pay child support, another deadbeat dad. And this is Patricia Swain. Miss Swain, last known to be living in Childersburg. She's wanted for failure to appear on writing lots of bad checks. And that was the last one in our lineup this week. If you have any information on these folks, please give Crime Stoppers a call at 256-238-1414.
The Crime Stoppers segment of the show and our crazy criminal of the week still to come in just a few minutes, but right now we're talking with Trace Fleming-Smith from Second Chance, talking about taking care of our elderly and trying to make sure that they are protected from abuse, that kind of thing. I know that one of the things that you're going to be doing here soon is some training for people who work in the field. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, because it's such a crime that we know not a huge amount about, it's important for just individuals in general, caregivers, but then also for our law enforcement and social service professionals to be able to recognize the warning signs. And also, too, in 2013, we had some changes to our Alabama state laws about elder abuse as well, so we'll be doing training on those changes. But the big thing is just to be understanding that there's a lot of different types of crimes that fall under the umbrella of elder abuse. So it's not just physical abuse, but it also encounters sexual assault, stalking is also part of it, financial exploitation, neglect, self-neglect. There's just a variety that fall there, and it's something that is just so personal, but we need to be knowing what those warning signs are, what those red flags are, about how to ask the right questions, and what those right questions actually are. So all these trainings are going to allow for that. That's what we're really excited about.
And Sheriff, your deputies can't enforce the law if they don't know the law. The extra training as the job goes on, it's every bit as important as the training that happens before you get on the job.
Absolutely, and I talk to people regularly who are having issues in their family. Sometimes it's what to do with grandma or dad or mom, or sometimes it's my sibling is doing things that I don't think are right for the my parents or grandparents, and being able to give them the resources to be able to respond to it, because it can be really complicated. There may not be physical abuse, but sometimes there is, and being able to get it reported and respond to it's so critical for all of us.
Exactly, and that's another reason why communication is such a good idea. And one of the things that we're doing on August 20th is that we're having a community kickoff event that's all about the training, and that's open to anyone who's interested. So law enforcement, the medical staff, faith leaders, social service professionals, caregivers, anyone who's interested in coming to that is welcome to that event. It's going to be in Anniston on August 20th. They will need to register, but it is a free event. And we'll be having national speakers coming in from the National Clearinghouse on Abuse in Later Life. They are incredible trainers, and they'll be talking us through an entire elder abuse case, but giving us a chance to break that down in individual groups to really have some intense training on it, but in a way that people will leave not only feeling more confident, but having some practical tools about it.
And a lot of what we've talked about is for people who are professionals in the field or related fields, but you also have opportunities for people who just have a passion to get involved and help, don't you?
Absolutely. Second Chance loves our volunteers. They are the most incredible people, and anyone who's interested in getting more involved, we really ask them to give us a call at our administration building and just talk to us, and let's see what we can do together, because there are always opportunities.
What are some of the ways that volunteers are helping?
Well, my personal and favorite volunteers are members of our SAFE team, which SAFE stands for Sexual Assault Forensic Exam, and these team members are just amazing. They train really for over 20 hours, and they are able to respond to anyone in our coverage area, which is 6 counties, and they go in to our hospitals whenever we have a sexual assault victim who needs to have a forensic exam done, and they go on call, and they stay through the entire exam. We aren't able to do the exam, of course, because we're not medically trained, but they stay and they answer questions and they make sure that the person's being treated with dignity and respect, and it's just such a benefit. They humble me every time I see them, so because I know that when they go out, they're about to help somebody and make a huge difference.
Yeah, Sheriff, any organization that serves the public on a large scale relies heavily on volunteers.
Certainly, and for example, the SAFE team, as a law enforcement officer, I'm investigating a potential crime, but many times your victim's embarrassed, or they're afraid to talk about it, or there's other issues that they're concerned with. So having someone there to hold their hand, to comfort them and help them say, oh no, this is normal, this is regular, nobody's asking you things that are inappropriate. That's a great resource for us to allow us to get the evidence we need to prosecute people.
Yeah, and our advocates are actually trained to work with law enforcement on top of that, and to know some of the laws, and sometimes they're able to answer questions that may not be able, not come in the middle of the night for typical folks, or even even sometimes they can just be that extra benefit to law enforcement, like you said. So it's a great thing, and if anybody's interested in that, we do a quarterly training that we just had our last training. We trained, I believe, 4 new advocates, and it's just an adventure, because they're just passionate people too, and that's so great to see.
All right, well, Trace, thanks for the work that you're doing. Congratulations on the grant, and make the most of it. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show and this week's Crazy Criminal of the Week on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Congratulations to Calhoun County's Crime Stoppers and the Most Wanted program that airs on the TV all the time, and for being on the air for 10 years, and also for arresting over 3,000 people. Great job, guys.
Big news for homebuyers searching through all those complicated mortgage options. AOD Federal Credit Union is now offering new, out-of-the-box mortgage solutions. Mortgage loan manager Jamie Bailey will help find the best rates and quickest approval for you. Conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, Jumbo, HARP, and more. Call Jamie Bailey at 256-241-8218. Out-of-the-box mortgage services. Reason number 4 that you belong with AOD Federal Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA. All loans subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions apply. Equal housing lender.
For emergency and non-emergency medical transportation, you can count on Anniston EMS.
Hello, I'm Johnny Warren with Anniston EMS, and we appreciate the opportunity to provide support for the Calhoun County's Most Wanted program. And I would like to remind everyone out there that if they need any medical transportation needs, please don't hesitate to call us.
Call Anniston EMS at 256-237-8572.
More than half of kids 12 to 17 years old have personal web pages, videos, or blogs. It's called social networking. As a parent, you should be monitoring your child's web pages. Find out the name of their site and go to it at least 3 times a week. Check for inappropriate material, for pictures, comments, and messages. Make sure your child doesn't post their personal information. Software is available to help you monitor your child's internet use. I'm Calhoun County Sheriff Larry Amerson. For more information, log on to our website or call the number on your screen.
And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show. We have 2 cases for you to work on this week, so pay attention and listen up. On July 18th, an aluminum semi-truck wheel was stolen from a residence on Chocolaca Road in Anniston. The victim observed a white male with dark-colored hair and wearing a dark-colored jacket walking out of the shed, carrying one wheel. The suspect dropped the wheel and took off running. The victim then realized that another semi-truck wheel had been missing and other items in the shed had also been tampered with. And your next and last case this week, between July 16th and July 17th. A residence on Nature Trail in Jacksonville was broken into. They got away with some currency. So that's your cases for this week. Please work them and work them hard. And if you get any information on them, give us a call at Crime Stoppers, 256-238-1414. And remember, we want your information and not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
The Crazy Criminal of the Week is sponsored by Systems by Design. Simply Smart Security. Find out how they can protect your home or business at systemsbydesign.org.
Our crazy criminal this week, Sheriff, is an individual that decided to rob a beauty supply store, Sally Beauty Supply in Myrtle Beach. He goes in, he picks out some hair extensions, and then gets up to the counter, and instead of paying for the hair extensions, he pulls out a gun, orders the young lady to open the cash register. Well, she panics and she's just frozen. I can't, I'm too scared. So he reaches over and tries to open the cash register himself. He can't get it. So he ends up running out holding the hair extensions. So now he's guilty of stealing hair extensions.
Yes, and the attempted robbery as well. So I wonder if it was the right color for him anyway.
So when he gets into the cell, assuming that they do catch him, and based on how he's acted so far, I'm thinking they probably will, is his cellmate going to respect his story of being in jail because he stole hair extensions?
Well, certainly he's not going to get any points in the crime world for being an ineffective robber, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the dumb ones.
Absolutely. The easier you can make it, the better it'll be. All right, so that's all the time that we have for this week. We thank you for yours, and we'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Attention Alabama, a stop payment notice has been issued on all vehicles in your area. Don't make another payment on your current car. Bring your vehicle directly to the Kia stores. Because right now, you get $5,000 minimum for any trade towards the purchase of any select new Kia in stock. Drive home a new 2014 Kia Soul or a 2014 Kia Rio for just $111 per month. Or drive home 2 for $222. Plus, if you have a job bringing home $350 per week, we want to approve your credit. Only at the Kia stores.
Nobody beats a Kia store deal. Nobody.